Hi, today I'm going to talk about eating in Paris. This was one of the things that really made me nervous when we went because I wasn't sure about prices or anything like that. And a friend of ours had told us as soon as we told him that we were going to Paris. By the way, if you get negative responses from people when you say you're going to Paris, totally ignore them, you know, la 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 la, because you're going to get that. And the main people I got that from was people that had never even been. And I'm like, then why are you giving me an opinion and telling me I shouldn't be doing this? So lame. But anyway, one of the people that I told that we were going to Paris said, oh, well, my friend just got back from there. And he spent $800 a day to feed himself, his wife, and his 2 kids. I got so worried. I went home. I told my husband, we have to cancel the trip. We can't afford it. We can't afford even half of that's $800 a day. That's like our budget for eating for like 5 or 6 days. I mean, I didn't really have a budget, so to speak, but I knew it wasn't going to be $400 a day. Well, the man was totally, I don't know where this guy was eating, but $800 a day for 4 people. Really? Seriously? I don't think so. Eating in Paris is easy. It can be as cheap as you want or as expensive as you want. Okay, you can picnic. I've talked about that. There, you go in the grocery store or to a market, even better, and you buy your bread, your brie, you could buy roasted chicken on the street, or you can just have bread and brie, and we'd usually buy some, I can't even think of what we'd usually buy with bread, brie, fruit. I don't even know. I can't think all of a sudden. And a bottle of wine, and we learned to carry these plastic glasses with us in the backpack, small plastic glasses, and a corkscrew. Every day, everywhere. Now, we didn't drink wine every day out of our backpack. I don't mean that, but you know, you got to be prepared for anything there. And at the Louvre, they took our corkscrew out of our bag and kept it till we finished looking at the Louvre. I thought they thought we were going to hack up the Mona Lisa with a corkscrew. Anyway, okay, so you can picnic. Now, their grocery stores are not like they are here in America. I'm just warning you. They're small. They're different. But you know what? Just get in there, get what you want, pay attention to how everybody else is doing everything, and follow their lead, and you'll come out just fine. So you can picnic, you can eat street food. Many days we would get hungry, and we would have a crepe, €5 for the best food, and filling, huge, giant ham and cheese crepe. Or we'd usually have one of those each, and then we'd split a dessert crepe. Very, very good, very inexpensive. Loved eating on the street. Well, you go sit down and eat it, but okay, restaurants. I'm going to talk about, there's all kind of restaurants. There are cafes, bistro, brasserie, restaurant. I don't know the difference. I mean, I sort of do, but I can't explain it. But what you do in France, which is so awesome, is I think it's by law, every restaurant has to have their menu posted out front with the prices. Now, the price you see, that's it. Your tax is included, so there's no additional fee there, and your tip is usually included. Now, there's a word, there's a little saying that they'll put at the bottom of the menu if the tip's included. That saying, I'm not going to try to say it to you. I know what it is in my head, but I'm not going to say it because I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's in the book if you need to know. So usually the tax is included also, but it's customary to leave €1, €2, €3 on the table when you leave if you got good service. So we always did that. But basically, if it says €14, you can give them €14 and walk out the door most of the time for your meal if you don't have wine with it or whatever. Sometimes wine's even included, but not very often. Okay, so let's see. Prices, all different prices. You decide what you want to spend for lunch or dinner, and then you walk until you find a place that has the food you want for the price you want. Now, sometimes that will happen quickly. Sometimes we've walked around half an hour just walking and walking because there's restaurants absolutely everywhere. They're everywhere. So you can find what you want. Now, menus change daily. A lot of them are on chalkboards because they change so often. One thing that they have that we did a lot was they'll have like 2 courses or 3 courses with a set price. And then there'll be like 5 starters to choose from and 5 main dishes to choose from, and you choose from both. And sometimes if you get 3 courses, you get a dessert. And there'll be a flat fee for that. So that's really good. You always know what you're paying there, and it's really nice. Now, if it's an outdoor cafe, like if there's seating outside, you just sit down and wait for your waiter. Now, it's going to take a lot longer than you're used to for them to come and take your order. And that's okay. You will get used to it. The whole process takes a lot longer to eat in Paris, but you know, you're in Paris, so who cares, right? So just relax. It took about 2 or 3 days for us to get used to that, but we knew what we were getting into when we went. We knew what to expect, so it didn't bother us. I'll tell you what bothered us is when we got back home, and the first restaurant we went to was like Chili's or something, and the waitress drove us crazy, asking us, you know, how are you? Are you fine? Do you need more tea? Do you need more water? Do you need more napkins? How's your meal? Do you want some dessert? We got interrupted so many times that we could barely enjoy our meal. So I like the process over there. No one wants to chat it up with you, ever, in France. It's awesome. I love that about it. I like it that my husband and I feel like we're in a bubble and no one bothers us. Now, that's just how we are. Now, if you're one of those really friendly people that want to make friends on a vacation, you might want to go to another country. But I love it because you're just so into each other, you know. You just, it's awesome. Specific restaurants. I can't really give you a specific restaurant. Well, I mean, there are specific ones that we like, but I could never tell you the names of them because we just kind of know where they are. So, you know, you'll figure it out when you go. You'll figure it out. And there's certain places you might want to go. But I just couldn't give you specific restaurants. There's just no way I could do that. Sadly, because we always pay cash, so I don't even have my receipts where I could look back. Because I do have a big keepsake box of things from Paris that we keep, but there's not any food receipts because we always pay cash. One of our favorite restaurant stories is that we were in the Palais Royal, just kind of walking around, and we went out the back of it, for lack of a better word, and there was a restaurant right there, Le Grand Colbert. That's not how you say it, but anyway. That is the restaurant that Diane Keaton eats at in the movie Something's Gotta Give with Keanu Reeves and Jack Nicholson. And that is just one of my favorite scenes in that movie. And so when we saw it, we were like, oh my gosh. So we went over there and we went inside, and it was kind of early for lunch, so we got a seat because within 30 minutes the place was packed. There was not a seat in there because we didn't have a reservation, but they went ahead and seated us. So sweet, such a cool place. That's probably the most expensive meal we ever ate in Paris because we had everything they offered: the starter, the main dish, the dessert. We had coffee. We had cappuccino when we were or coffee when we were finished, and we had wine, and we had after dinner drink. I mean, we did it all, right? It was well over $100 for lunch, but it was so fun, and we were in there a long time. But you know how I told you you have this protective bubble around you, and no one's going to talk to you or want to chat it up. Well, you sit down, and all these restaurants you're sitting, you're like right next to people, like right next to people, you know. And so we sat down in this little table for two, but there's a table for two right next to us, and this is an inside restaurant. Well, I got up and went to the restroom, and I came back and I sat down, and this other couple, this man was sitting there, and then here comes this girl. They were in their 20s, and she says, hey, are y'all Americans? And we said, yes. And she goes, oh my gosh, you said excuse me in the bathroom, so I knew you were an American. I am so tired of talking to my husband. I'm so happy to find someone that speaks English. And she talked to us during our whole meal. Now, the meal was still fun, and they were very interesting people. He was a policeman in New York City, and I don't know what she was, but they were interesting. But it was just funny because she said, I'm tired of talking to my husband because there's no one else to talk to. That is so true. So if you're not in love, you might not have a good time there. But you also might get there and figure out if your marriage is really good or not. Because if you run out of things to talk about like day 2, there's a problem. But you know what? Paris is a perfect place to work out your problems because it's just so romantic. Now, I'm going to get off the topic of restaurants and tell you Now, I didn't give prices on restaurants. They're all different prices. Did I already say that? I think I already said that, because I know people are going to say, how much does it cost to eat there? Well, it costs whatever you want. That's all I'm going to say. Romantic. Okay, Paris is so romantic. Now, I'm going to say something. A lot of people are going to be really annoyed with this, but if you go your first time, please, I'm begging you, don't take your children with you. Go with your husband alone. Don't take your kids. It's not the same. Go with your husband and just, I don't even know what to say. It's just a place for, it's romantic. There's people everywhere kissing, not grossly, like, you know, not gross. They're just kissing. Everybody's, I don't know, I can't describe it. And now I see children there all the time, but I can't imagine trying to drag my kids around the Louvre and everything. They just would have gotten bored with it, and there's not bathrooms. You have to okay, that's a tip. If you see a bathroom or you're in a restaurant, use it. Don't think you're going to see one on the street. Well, there's some on the street. My husband went in one time, and he says you're not doing that. Use the bathroom if you see it. I just can't imagine trying to, I don't know. I know a lot of people take European trips and take their whole family, but as far as just Paris goes, just go with your husband or your, well, I'm just going to say husband because I believe in marriage. Anyway, just go and have a good time. And don't, if you have kids around, it's just going to change the whole dynamic of the trip. I promise you that. Now, I used to look around when I was, well, every time I'm there, I'm a very good observer. One of my favorite things to do is observe people. And one thing I observed there that was so interesting to me is the women seem a little bit, what's the word? The women there are not all over the men like you might see here in America. The men seem way more interested in the women there than vice versa. I can't tell you how many times I would see a man and a woman together, and she's just looking around, you know, ho-hum, sitting on the metro, reading a book. The man is so engrossed in her, you can't even imagine. He's just staring. He's talking to her in her ear. He's trying to get her attention. It's hilarious. And I'm not talking gorgeous, perfectly shaped women, airbrushed, you know. No, I'm talking about everyday looking girls that aren't particularly beautiful. They've got this fantastic looking French man completely engrossed in everything they're doing. And I thought that was so interesting. And I don't know why I noticed that. I don't know if that's the way it is there. But those women have got something. They know what they're doing, because that was really, really interesting. So when you go, really observe people, and you'll really learn a different culture, a different way of life. It's just so interesting. Now, I hope you're still enjoying these videos. I'm going to mix in a couple of makeup videos in between them now. I do have 3 or 4 more French videos that I'm going to do about different things. And anyway, I hope you enjoyed it. Talk to you later. Bye.